Hey, what's up everyone? Product of Kicks here, back at it again with another video. This is a special segment for me. LeBron James has won his 4th NBA championship ring, the LA Lakers their 17th. I've invited somebody on today to help me talk about LeBron's and the whole legacy and share some different LeBron shoes. So let's just dive right into it. So for this segment, I really want to introduce LeBrons that have impacted me and some of the shoes that I have. And I couldn't think of anybody else other than my good friend, Carlos Chandia. He's a big LeBron fan. He's also a part of and a member of Goody Two Shoes, who I've collaborated with and I'm going to collaborate with going forward. We're huge LeBron fans. So I'm going to introduce him real quick, have him kind of do his little thing, and then we'll dive right into the shoes.
Awesome. Ramsey, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate you thinking of me for a LeBron specific episode. I'm excited. Obviously, I've got all my LeBrons surrounding me and I feel nice and comfortable, even warm with all of these around, but super happy to be here. Like you said, I'm a part of Goody Two Shoes, which is a sneaker show that goes live on Facebook every Saturday night. We have certain guests and they show off their sneakers and things like that. So you were on our season 2 and we had a really good time. And so I'm looking forward to collaborating with you going forward. LeBrons have obviously been some of my favorite sneakers since getting into shoes in about 2005, 2006. And I've always had LeBrons, you know, here and there, but it wasn't until a couple of years ago where I really I said to myself, you know what? Jordan's not my favorite player. LeBron is my favorite player. So it would make sense that my closet reflects that, right? So I don't have as many LeBrons as I'd like. So I kind of set on a mission to collect at least one colorway of 1 through 17. And I completed that this year, maybe the one silver lining of 2020, but happy to have done that. And I'm happy to share some of these shoes with you today.
So without further ado, let's dive in to some sneakers. I had told Carlos to bring at least 5 pairs of LeBrons, and we can kind of talk about the history and what they kind of mean to us and what they are. So do you want to pop up one of the 5 that I had asked you to bring?
Sure, I can do that. So first up,
Oh,
Air Zoom Generation, also known as the LeBron 1. If you had to give it a number, this is his first signature shoe. Came out in 2003. That was the year that he was drafted. And I remember having his jersey in 7th grade. I was in 7th grade when he was drafted, and I had his jersey and I had KG's. I had Kevin Garnett's jersey, and one of them just didn't last. So I don't know. Maybe I think I just really liked the Timberwolves jersey, like with the trees on the stitching and stuff like that. But whatever, that didn't last. But LeBron's did. He became my favorite player. And when I started that hunt of 1 through 17, this one was probably the one I was most excited about getting, because this is an OG pair. This is not a retro. And they couldn't have been in better condition. And I think I paid like $130, maybe $130 plus shipping. I can't remember. It was a really great deal. And I got them from a guy out in New York. His name is Sneaker Galactus on Instagram. We had him on season 1 of Goody Two Shoes and was a great guest and has a lot of old Nike Heat and a lot of player exclusives and stuff like that. So I was super happy to get this pair. Do you have a pair of 1s or Air Zoom Generations?
I personally don't. That white, black, and red colorway is one of my favorites. I like the blacks too. I tried to go for the retros when they came out. It just didn't happen. For those who don't know, that was old Zoom Generations. They come in the original orange Nike box. A lot of people don't know that. I don't know if Carlos has that original box. I'm assuming he does. He's not a big box guy. But yeah, the Zoom Generations, it's on my list. I almost picked up the Wheat All-Star colorways, and then I saw Kevin Hart wear them, and I didn't know if I liked them too much after that. But there was something about them. But I mean, it's so dope that you actually have the OGs. Do you have the box around that you could show?
Here's the box. I've labeled a lot of my boxes with the picture of the shoe on the outside, so I don't have to guess what's in it. But this is the box. You can see it's that OG box. Can't beat it. A little damaged, but that's a 17-year-old sneaker. I mean, the box has probably been through more than the shoes have.
It's a dope shoe, dope shoe. So I actually got these when they dropped, what, maybe 6 months ago, when LeBron was doing all the retros of the shoes. I missed them. I used to work at Foot Locker, so I missed them when they originally dropped because I don't know why I passed on them. These are the LeBron 7 All-Stars. You can see the East right there. Now he plays for the West. I love the fact that they did the whole the Zoom Air in the shoe. I don't know if I like the all blue though. I really don't. I like the laser print in here. It kind of tops off the shoe. I can't tell the difference in quality between the retros and the older OG pairs. The boxes are the same. They come with the blue laces, which I don't know about you, but I would never wear blue on blue. I think the black offsets it perfectly. The inner sole has the East. I don't know if anybody can see that, probably not. But this 7 is one of the most comfortable shoes, and I hope you can agree. The 7s and the 8s, in my personal opinion.
That laser print is reflective. If you take a picture with a flash phone or a flash camera or whatever, that it just pops. And I think that's an awesome detail of the shoe. I agree with you on the laces. I usually my rule of thumb, I guess, is to have laces that match the color that's on the shoe the least. So like a pair of white laces, because this is the only other white that you see on the shoe, right? So that's kind of the rule that I follow. It doesn't necessarily always have to work out that way, but that's kind of what I follow, especially if the main color of the shoe is pretty loud. Try to offset it a little bit with the laces. But
the most, like me and you have talked about, the details on LeBron's are so, they just figured it out. Like even on the insole, right? You can see the stars, the 2010, the East, the Eastern Conference, like they have everything, like his stats, kind of like they did with the Jordan 10s. They just don't pay attention like that anymore, in my personal opinion. And I also really think that this shoe and a lot of other LeBrons, including the Zoom generations that you showed, are the most slept on shoe in the sneaker game.
They are definitely slept on, and I think we'll probably talk about that a little bit more later. But going back to that air bubble and how it's very similar to the Air Max 360, which was a very popular running shoe back then. And if anybody knows anything about LeBron, he's a big Air Max guy. Like if you see him off the court, he's often wearing Air Maxes, and I guess he loves the way that they feel. And a funny story that I wasn't planning on telling, but this conversation has kind of taken it there. So last summer I was at a Nike store downtown, and I was talking to an employee. He probably commented on my LeBrons or something like that. And he let me know that recently some designers from Nike had been into their store and was talking to them about future Nikes. I think the 15s were the current shoe and the 16s were about to come out. And he told me that on the 17s, the air bubble would be the same as the Air Max 270, which is exactly what happened. And so he told me like 2 years before the 17s even came out, that the Air Max bubble from the 270s would be implemented into the 17s. So it's interesting to see how, 10 years ago that the Air Max 360 bubble made it into a LeBron 7. And now 10 years later, a very popular running shoe, the Air Max 270 with that air bubble, has made it onto the 17. So just thought I'd share that little tidbit with you.
No, that's actually pretty interesting because, I know that LeBron likes Air Maxes. He takes a lot of inspiration from Air Maxes and incorporates them into his shoes, which I think is super dope. But the Air Max 360s was like the first like running training shoe I had back when I was playing basketball. I was never a fan of hooping in LeBrons until that shoe in the back to your right, that LeBron 4. I hooped in that. And then from there, it led to, okay, maybe I liked training in Air Maxes. LeBron likes Air Maxes. So let me try these out. So I did hoop in the 8s and the cool gray colorway. And I actually really liked them. It just didn't fit my play style. LeBron's a big guy. So the Air Max bubble really supports him and kind of the bigger men play style. The Kobe's are the ones that I hooped in more for my play style.
I've definitely found that to be true. I remember, here's the cool gray 8s, by the way. And there's that air bubble. I can see right to you. My junior year of high school, our team shoes on the basketball team were some LeBron Soldiers. They were like white with black and gray camo details on them. And they were the heaviest shoe I've ever held in my entire life. And I felt like my game, as if it didn't need any more negative help. Those shoes made it worse. I couldn't lift. It was like doing leg lifts every time I stepped on the court. But they've gotten lighter over the years. So one thing that I'm curious about is getting a new, like a retro pair of sevens, like the ones that you have, the media days or the all stars, and comparing them to my OG pairs of sevens, seeing if they're any heavier. And I know that that's what has happened with LeBron's over the years, is that they've gotten a lot lighter. So he's figured out a way to implement technology into his shoes to support bigger guys like he is, and still attract other types of players that aren't the big, the big guys like him, but are maybe more the stop-go players, which is why I hoop predominantly in Kyrie's, because his shoe is more along the lines of my play style. But yeah, LeBron's definitely gotten a lot lighter over the years. I know that for sure. Okay, so the next shoe that I wanted to show was the LeBron 4. This is a fantastic sneaker. This could be in a lot better shape as I bought them used, and they've gotten a lot of love over the years. I'm super happy to have them. I also found these used for, I think they were less than $100, and these are OGs. I don't think they haven't retroed these at all, have they? They haven't retroed 4s.
No, they haven't. I wish they did.
Interestingly enough, they have made the 17s in the graffiti 4, I guess, to pay tribute to those or what have you. But these are super comfortable. These are super heavy. This is probably one of his heaviest early shoes. They're very bulky and they look really funky when you're holding them, but when they get onto your feet, they look so much better. I don't know what it is about them, but they look so much better on feet than they do in your hands. Have you noticed the same thing?
No, I agree with that 100%. When I had them, I had the black and red pair. I got them at Foot Locker, and that was the shoe that I tried to hoop in. And for people that know, like, Hoop Fest is an outdoor basketball tournament, one of the largest tournaments in the world. I could not hoop in that shoe indoors, so I used it for playing in Hoop Fest. And it was a perfect outdoor shoe, but you have the best colorway I think that they've made in that shoe. It is super heavy. For people that don't know, these are what kind of the norm for the LeBron boxes are. Carlos, if you have something different, yeah.
I got the same box, and I don't know if it's because this is a LeBron 7 box as well, but this is the only box that I've seen with 7s. I think you've got a couple pairs, and both of yours come in this box, correct?
Yeah, no, they all come in the same box. This is a pair of shoes that I've talked about a lot. I talk about this shoe a lot because I think it's one of the most underappreciated shoes besides the PEs, like Christ the Kings or the SBSMs, is the LeBron 7 MVPs. Now, you've seen me hold this shoe up a lot. And I revert back to the conversation that me and you had about the detail in LeBron's. They're second to none. Like the stitching of the MVP right here, as I talked about it in the All-Stars, when he won the MVP, stitched, the witness stitched, the LeBron on the insole stitched. It talks about, it says witness, and it's like a puffy stitch too. It's not one of those like loose fake, kind of feel. It's just like imprinted on the sole. It's actually stitched on there. This is, I don't know about you, but this is a dope colorway for me, at least. I love the gold and the burgundy. Something about gold and burgundy, it just pops. And then it has the carpet, like Nike swoosh. Like come on now, you don't get to see that like ever. Even has it's the whole shoe, I should say. Like even right here in the midsole is carpet, and like it's good carpet. It's not like the crappy, like pleather that comes on some Jordans. Yeah, so I think LeBron's have held up the test of time with material-wise. They're not like the retros that you can kind of tell the difference. I see you holding something up.
Yeah, I've got the Dunkman 7s here, and probably one of my favorite sevens. There are so many sevens, and I think there are so many really cool colors and details and materials. Like you were mentioning, some of those subtle details, like that carpeted material on the swoosh, and then like the quilted material on that side panel where the swoosh is, like super cool details. And I think this Dunkman, although it's two colors, there aren't a ton of colors on it, but there's a lot of different materials that make the shoe even cooler. So the patent leather here on the front, that shine. You got the Flywire technology here on the sides. You've got suede accents throughout some of the uppers, and then obviously the leather. I guess the tongue here is patent leather as well. There's mesh here where your laces are, and then there's that little dunk. You can't really see it, but there's a Dunkman logo here within the tongue. But sevens, I think, are a great silhouette to have fun with. Like if you could Nike ID some sevens, that would probably be one of the most fun Nike IDs I'd ever do, because of all the different, I don't know, different panels to work with and different materials. I think it would be pretty cool.
I think the LeBron 7 Dunkmans, not just the LeBron 7s, but that Dunkman series, that black and green series, is a dope series. Like that shoe in particular I think is the best colorway of that series. I don't know if you agree with that.
I'm trying to think of what other Dunkmans, because there are some really cool Dunkman 5s, Dunkman 6s are pretty cool. The Dunkman 10s are awesome. There's so many to choose from. There's even some Dunkman Air Maxes. I don't know if you knew that, but he's gotten his Dunkman design onto a couple pairs of Air Maxes and Air Forces and things like that. But it's a really, really cool series. And the black and the green just kind of pop like crazy. Recently, the Off-White, the rubber dunks that came out, those black and neon green ones, they pretty much just look like the Dunkman Off-White rubber dunks. So
yeah, we had talked about that in the live stream, and I agree with your statement. I can't look at them any differently now. They are definitely the Off-White Dunkman rubber dunks. So I think, I don't know, they made the Zoom Soldiers. I don't know if you've ever had a pair of the Zoom Soldiers or if you have a pair of the Zoom Soldiers. That shoe, I got, like, they hit outlets and things like that. The Dunkman series has never been like a sought after series. The 112s, the DJ Clark Kents, if you've seen those, people were like, oh, at first when they came out, they were like, oh, this is just an uglier version or a better version of the Dunkmans. And then they're like, oh, they're DJ Clark Kents. Like, I got to have them. And now they're worth, whatever they are. But they took that inspiration almost identical from the LeBron 7 Dunkmans. Black and green for me has always been that color combination that has just been really cool. I mean, they vibe together in a way that makes a good shoe. I mean, even the Off-White rubber dunks, they're okay, but it's just that color combination.
I love this shoe. I don't wear it as much as I probably should, but this is the St. Vincent St. Mary's LeBron 3. I'm not a huge fan of predominantly white shoes. And I think that's just because I don't clean my shoes as often as I should. And I can tell if these are dirty more than I could tell if a pair of black shoes are dirty. But this is a great shoe. And the fact that I had the jersey without the shoes made it just a given for me to get these shoes when they came out. And I got them and I love them. And I'll probably never get rid of these. There's no reason for me to do that, especially if I had the jersey to go with it. But the details are awesome. You've got a bunch of details on this shoe. You've got the lion here on the tongue, which is in some type of like almost like emerald green oval here, which is awesome. You've got all the gold details here. You can see right here. I don't know if you can see it very well.
Yep.
There you go. That says SVSM, St. Vincent St. Mary's. It's a private school in Cleveland, and LeBron wasn't necessarily zoned for that school, if you will, but he went there obviously for more looks as a high school player. He probably wouldn't have gotten as many looks or championships in high school if he were to go to the school that he was zoned for. But lots of great details. I love it. These colors are really cool. And I think they've made a couple of other sneaker, LeBron sneakers with this colorway on them. And one that I'm hoping they release, they've talked about it recently, is the St. Vincent St. Mary LeBron 8s. And that colorway on that silhouette is fantastic. So I'm really hoping they come out with some more SVSM colorways on the ones that they're retroing.
Also, a lot of the SVSMs that they came out with were like a PE exclusive. They just recently started to retro and drop. Now, are those the OGs or are those the retro ones that they came out with them when the threes retroed?
These are the retros. These ones came out around the same time that they did like the Supermans. What else? What other ones did
Black
they do?
and gold. The black and gold.
Yeah.
Threes, yeah.
They did the black and gold ones as well. They did the like baby blue with a little bit of red and stuff like that.
The Oilers. The Oilers, right? Is that what they're called? Yeah.
I think so. I can't remember if that was the name for them, but I think this was 2017, 2018. I can't remember when they started retroing a bunch of the threes, but they did it all in that year. And this was one of those pairs. So I had to get them. I couldn't pass them up.
Do they have the thick round laces? It looks like they got the thick round laces. And is that a gold? Is the gold metal tips?
Yeah, they have they're thicker. I guess they're not thick to me because I'm a huge SB Dunk guy, and the laces on those shoes are obviously far thicker than these ones. But yeah, the gold metal tips on these laces are fantastic, and just to match with these lace eyelets. I don't know what the word is for that. You can cut that, but just to match the details here with the laces.
No, the threes, I only have the black and golds. The SVSMs have been on my list for, I don't even know how long. Since they retroed them, I just haven't got around to getting them. Now, I know on the insole, it looks like, from what you see, is it that like, I would say silk? It looks like silk kind of?
Here?
Yeah.
I don't know what material it is, but it's definitely very comfortable. It's very cushioned. Like I can take this and like,
oh yeah,
quite a bit as I'm pressing on it. But it's a very, very padded shoe. So it's very comfortable on the ankles. I think this is probably a really good shoe to hoop in as far as the retros go. Cause I think, I actually have a pair of retro threes. I didn't bring them out, but I have a pair of retro threes, the black, white, and red ones, and they are way heavier than these. So I think that's probably going to be the same case with the sevens that you have and the sevens that I have. I think the retros are going to be a lot lighter. So I saw a few people, Markieff Morris specifically, during the course of this NBA season, he was wearing a few pairs of the threes. And if they're hooping in the NBA with them, then they're probably a decent shoe to hoop in. They wouldn't do that just for no reason unless you're PJ Tucker hooping in some Yeezy 2s.
Yeah, he also hooped in some Fear of God 1s. So I don't know. This is a shoe that I ended up getting off GOAT. I looked at and compared StockX prices. When it first came out, I missed it. I tried for my size, didn't get it. It came out again on sneakers. I didn't get it. And I'm just going to go ahead. Oh, these are the LeBron 7 China Moons, white, gold. This is one of my favorite colorways I think that they've ever came out with. As you can tell, I'm super excited. I've maybe shown these like 3 times, and every time it like gives me little goosebumps on the back of my neck, just because when I was a kid, when I was younger, I wanted this shoe so bad. It was between these and the red carpets that had came out. And I didn't end up getting them both. And I shot myself in the foot for them. And so when these dropped back, I was so mad at sneakers because I was like, nobody wants this shoe. Like that was my mindset. Like nobody wants this. Nobody knows what this shoe is. It was just a white and gold. Now I will say the only downside to this is this toe box here. It feels off. It doesn't feel like it's the OG material. It's like, as you can see, it's like denting kind of. And maybe that's just because of the gold material that they used. But that's the only thing I think that's wrong with this shoe. But I mean, just like, we revert back to the detail on this shoe. Like, I don't know, can you tell? Can you see that? The inside, the patent leather, by the way, this is patent leather. They have these little China Moon designs in it. They got the Chinese symbol right there. I really don't know what that means. Um, Now they have this writing in here. I think it means witness. I don't know. I'd have to double check, but top, probably top three colorways in my opinion, other than the South Beaches, the Preheats, or the Miami Nights. Like this was a shoe that was on my list, and I had to grab it. I don't know how you feel about the China Moons, but oh,
I think they're pretty cool. I think that's a pretty good colorway of the 7. It is a predominantly white sneaker, so I probably wouldn't get them because I it just it's not me. But the lettering on the insole that you were showing, it either says witness or it says strive for greatness. I had a pair of LeBron 14s, the Agimats, which is a tribute shoe to his trip out to the Philippines several years ago, and he's made a couple of colorways of that Agimat, which is like it's a blue that kind of pops like no other blue I've seen before with some gold accents. And he had a bunch of phrases and lettering in Tagalog on that shoe, and a lot of it said witness or strive for greatness or things like that. So he's always been about the details, and I think if the shoe reflects his game at all, then that's pretty accurate. He's about the details, and I think that's a great shoe. So kind of going back to what you were saying before about finding used shoes for a really good price, I'll go ahead and introduce you to the LeBron 2 All Stars. I found these on OfferUp. OfferUp is a great app if you guys haven't heard of it. And it became even better when OfferUp started to offer shipping options. It was usually just you could get in contact with somebody in your immediate area, your city, your town, whatever. But when they started offering shipping, your posts, if you were selling, were seen nationwide. And anywhere that you could ship within the US, somebody could see it. So I'm always searching for LeBrons, even if I don't want to buy some. I always want to know what's out there. Even if I want to get some later, I'll just like favorite it or something like that. But this pair was $80. I definitely haven't worn these to play basketball. These are OGs. So these are from 2004. So this is a 16-year-old shoe at this point. I don't know how well these would hold up if I were to play with them. I'm actually just realizing now that there's a little bit of sole separation here. So I don't want to mess those up.
yeah.
And I wouldn't want to further damage them as far as sole separation goes, because that's no good. I didn't know
No,
that.
honestly, the twos for me is one of the shoes that I think that they should retro again, because like nobody really knows about the twos. The twos were one of those shoes that they had the zooms. It was like the Jordan twos. Like they had the ones, and then he broke his ankle, and nobody ever saw him in the twos, right? LeBron, I don't remember if the twos were as sought after back in '04, but I remember for me at least, it was the zooms that dropped, and then I didn't even really know about the twos, and then the threes were the big ones. So the twos were just overlooked. But I mean, it's super dope that you got the OGs for $80. Like I said, this guy is like the king of deals. Like all of his shoes, he's got the deals. So those are the All Stars, right? Yeah.
All Stars. So you got your All Star 7s. I got my All Star 2s. And this is, I think I like the black and red pair of these better than the All Stars, but I couldn't find a good enough deal for them for me to pull the trigger. But I'm happy to have these, and it definitely just added to that checklist of having 1 through 17. And yeah, I'll probably never get rid of these either.
We revert back to what we were saying. Nobody has LeBrons. It's not like the SB craze. You know, now that those went up, everybody's coming out like, oh, by the way, I have 40 pairs of SBs just laying around. That's why I wish that they retroed LeBrons more, and they did like they did Jordans, or they're doing Jordans. They tried. They did the threes, the sevens and the eights, but I really love the older models. And it's funny because you have the 17s, and I don't like those as much as I like the twos. I don't like the older models as much as I like I don't like the newer models as much as I like the older models. Now, for a lot of people, that's reversed in Jordans. They don't, it's the same thing with Jordans. They don't like the newer models. They only like the older models. Why is that?
I don't know. I think there's some nostalgia built into some of these older shoes. So yeah, especially if you have the OGs, I think they're more sought after because they've, I don't know, they've been harder to get over the years. But I've appreciated how creative LeBron has been with his recent models. Like the 16s were probably one of my favorite numbers of LeBron's because of how creative he was with implementing other designs of sneakers into the LeBron 16. So like the Air Tech challenges, the Bo Jackson trainers. There, I mean, the list goes on and on. There was a ton of things that he did with his 16s. I think he even did.
He did the Watch the Thrones.
Those were the 15s. The 15s. I remember he did the Jordan fives, the metallic fives. He did there's a PE. They never came out.
Oh.
But he had the number 23, like the Jordan number 23 on the side of his 15s. You have to look him up, but it's a fantastic sneaker. But he's been very creative with his newer releases by integrating them with designs of other shoes, just to make them that much more, I don't know, sought after, I guess. Like he's done with the 17s, making them look like the 4s. He's just kind of stretching a little bit to get them more popular. But I wanted to show one more thing on these 2s that you don't really see unless you have the strap off of the shoe, and you can remove the strap completely if you want to, because they unvelcro from both sides. I don't think the shoe looks as good that way, but going back to your 7s, there's laser etching through this one as well. So you have the line here on one side, and then you have the LeBron logo here on the other, but just more details.
So talking about shoes that are sought after, now this was, if I'm not mistaken, this was the original colorway in a retro shoe that they dropped. And the reason I think this shoe is so sought after, so these are the LeBron 7 media days that he wore on media day when he introduced himself to the Lakers. Now, we saw this shoe on the court before they actually released, and I don't know if you remember the buzz around him, but it was hyped. And back in the day, I don't know if I really liked like one shoe being yellow, one shoe being purple. I don't think that was a thing, right? Like the 8s, like if they made, or the 7s, if they made this a blue, all blue, and then they made the other one black, I don't know how well it would do, but for some reason, this Laker iconic colorway, and whether you agree, it's just, they match so well, the purple and gold. I love the splatter print of purple on the side. Talked about the logo. This shoe doesn't have very much detail, but I think that the colors speak for themselves. Just how they did the purple and the yellow or gold, however you want to call it.
Those ones and the All-Star 7s that you showed earlier, I guess the All-Star 7s really aren't going for that much right now, so I probably could get them. But the media days, there was just so much hype around them. He wore them. Everybody thought it was going to be a PE, and they wouldn't release. And then they did. And then they did again. I missed them on both tries. It was ridiculous. So I don't have a pair of those. And I would give my left arm, I'll give my right arm because I'm left-handed. I give my right arm to you for those shoes, but we'll have that conversation another time. But going back to what you're talking about with the mismatched sneakers, he's done that on several occasions with his shoes. And most recently, it's with the LeBron 18s, which is his newest shoe. Just came out. I mean, they're starting to release colorways as time goes on. He actually won game 6 in a pair of, I cut hair in these too, a little tiny hair. I can't help myself.
Those were a shock drop, right?
These were a shock drop, and I was able to pick them up from a dude here locally for retail, which was a huge assist, and I'm super thankful for him. And it kind of goes back to what you're talking about before, with everything being opposite. Look at the laces on this one are blue, over here is yellow, and then you have the details on the insides, like the midsole, if you will. One's lighter blue, one's darker blue. On the soles, one's yellow and one's kind of this like salmony pink. And then even the back on the air bubbles, you can see the splatters.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is lighter than the other.
Yeah.
And then the heel tabs as well. One is that pink color and then one is yellow. And then here on the front, the little Nike swoosh on the front of the shoe, one's light blue and one's yellow. Surprisingly, this goes really well with their Mamba jerseys, their black Mamba jerseys. This is a great shoe to wear with those. Even though there's a lot of blue on this one, it still looks really nice. And I'm a sucker for speckles, and like this entire shoe from top to bottom has speckles on it. So you can see it on the mids or on the air bubble. There's speckles on the air bubble.
Yeah.
On the uppers, there's speckles of yellow, and on the laces, there's speckles of the opposite color. So
yeah,
really cool details on this shoe. This material on the back, it feels like rubber. Like it feels, I don't know how to explain it. It's really just something that you have to feel for yourself, but a really cool material there. And then on the tongue here, there's like an air bubble itself that's translucent. Like I can see the computer as I'm looking through this right now. That's where the lion is on these ones. And the tongue is a similar material to the back heel right here as well. So lots of cool details. And I'm excited to see what further colorways they have of these ones. They've got the James Gang one of these ones. They've got, these ones are called the Reflections. And then he also has the pair of like orange cream. I can't remember what they're calling them off the top of my head.
Mangoes,
but
right?
What is it?
Mangoes? I think they're calling them the mangoes.
I'm not exactly sure. They don't look like mangoes to me. They look like an orange creamsicle or something, but yeah. I don't know what they're calling them.
They say things the same.
I have to look it up, but I'm excited to have this. It kind of just furthers that 1 through 17. Now I've got the 18 as well. So I guess I'll just not buy another pair of LeBrons until the 19s come out.
So I talked about this shoe earlier. Like I said, the China Moons top 3. This is coming in 4th for me. Now, this is the red carpet LeBron 7s that I had talked about. Now, when this shoe first came out, too, again, it was between this and the China Moons, and I didn't end up getting both. And I remember when they got them at Foot Locker, this dropped with the Ken Griffeys, and more people picked up the Ken Griffey Air Max Griffey 1s, I believe, than this shoe. This shoe sat on shelves. Then when the South Beaches came out, people were like, oh, that's an $800 shoe. Now all of a sudden the red carpets sell out and they bust them up to like $600-700. I think, I got these on the retros. I actually got these through a buddy of mine who hooked me up for retail. So shout out to him. I love the red laces. Obviously I haven't worn these yet. As we talked about, LeBrons are just hard to rock. I would throw the red laces in both the shoes. Sometimes I do like one black, one red, for example. I do like how I do that on my South Beaches. I have one pink and one, the OG laces, the blacks. But I love the detail, as you called it, like that kind of quilt material, but the patent leather, these kind of remind me, and I don't know if you remember this shoe, the Michael Jordan LeBrons that he kind of did. Have you seen those? The black and red ones? They call them the Michael Jordans. They were a player exclusive. And a lot of people compared them to the red carpets, which I don't know why, but now that I see it, it's because of the laces pretty much. But this blue is like that teal kind of blue that kind of just pops. Again, all the shoes I've shown are the LeBron 7. So we got the full Air Max bubble, the blue bubble with the logo right here. Now, this just has the logo on the inside, doesn't really have anything. I think really what made this shoe popular was the accent between the blue and then the red.
That's a great looking shoe, and I think it's cool that you would do the red lace on one shoe and the black on the other. I'm all about mixing it up and kind of mismatching and stuff like that, even if it has to be done manually. Sometimes the shoes come that way, and then sometimes you just have a little fun with the laces and mess around with them. Okay, so I couldn't just stick to 5 pairs. I think I've probably showed like 7 or 8 at this point. It's hard to narrow it down, but I wanted to grab a couple more pairs just to, I don't know. I don't want to call it flexing because these aren't necessarily anything special, but I like them. So they're special to me. So I'm flexing to myself right now, but I'll start with the LeBron 10 Lavas. These are amazing. Going back to that speckle we talked about before, the speckle swoosh here. I had these as hoop shoes in 2013. So right before I got married, these were the shoes that I hooped in, and I loved them. They were a great hoop shoe, great ankle support. They were comfy, and they looked amazing on court. So the speckled swoosh on the inside here as well. But LeBron 10s, this is actually how I met Mr. Product of Kicks over here. I bought a pair of LeBron 10 mints, and I've got these here in reach as well.
I'm so mad I sold you those. I still like those.
You know
Nobody
what?
has had those ever. I haven't seen one person since I sold you those ever have them, post them, nothing.
That is unfortunate because, well, I'll be honest with you. I am not mad that you sold these to me because I like them. And I remember taking a picture of these with my son. He has a pair. This was before he grew out of this last size, but he had a pair of the New York City LeBron 10s and the Miami Dolphin LeBron 10s.
Oh,
they look so cute on the little foot, but I took some pictures like back to back with him with these on. They turned out really cool, but great shoe. LeBron 10 is an awesome model. Again, that 360 air unit that goes all the way around. It's in the 10s. It's in the 8s. Like they're all over the place. So that's that. I'll show this one here. This is one of your favorites, I hear.
Yeah, dude. First of all, you just showed, I think, 2 pairs of shoes. That talk about you being jealous of me, bro. You have the Cannons, which you were just about it. Oh, I don't know if you realize this, but the Cannons, when I needed those shoes, but I messed up and I got them in a 10.5 because I didn't know, as you said, they run small sometimes. The LeBron 9s are one of those shoes. I got them in a 10.5. I couldn't fit them. Nobody wanted to size swap me, so I had to get rid of them. And I've been looking for them ever since. I'm assuming those are a size 11. Oh, yep, I knew it. And then you also pulled out the LeBron Low Sprites, which are, okay, we've had this conversation on your Instagram at Goody Two Shoes LV. They posted which shoe is better, the Sprites or the Solar Reds. I love the Solar Reds. Don't get it twisted, though. The Sprites are right there.
They are right there. I think they're better than the. I think they're better than the Solar Reds. They're pretty close though. Obviously, they're really both really good shoes, but I like the Sprites a lot. And I think, yeah, these are a size 11. Funny story how I got these. I was live on Facebook with my father-in-law and my brother-in-law while they were fishing at a lake in their community. And one of my buddies, Brian, was on the live watching, and Henry, another friend of mine, was watching, and they dared me to jump in the lake with all my clothes on and my shoes on. And I was like, no, you guys are crazy. Then they were like, I'll send you a pair of shoes. And they both said that. So I'm now 2 pairs of shoes. And one other friend said he would send me $10. So I was like, all right, 2 pairs of shoes and $10 for jumping in this lake. So I did it. I jumped in, I went live again. I ended the live and I said, all right, I'm going live again. I'm going to jump in this lake. And this is the pair that Brian sent me. He bought them off of Poshmark. I think they were like $60, and he sent them to me. So size 11. They didn't have any insoles, so I had to put some in. And I'm just realizing now as I'm talking to you that there's some sole separation here as well. So can't complain though. It's a free shoe. I jumped in the lake with a pair of LeBron 7s on, some OGs, and I was really worried what would happen to them. But they're okay. They're doing just fine. They've recovered. They've dried. But now I got two extra pairs. One pair was a Kobe, and one pair was a LeBron. So I was happy.
Man, okay. I got to thank Carlos, man. Carlos Chandia, a member of Goody Two Shoes, man. They always come on. They always show us love. They always show good things. Obviously, he's a big-time collector, huge fan of LeBron. I can't thank him enough for coming on the segment. I know he's not feeling well, ladies and gentlemen. Be careful. Be safe out there. And today, if anything, what we've learned and what I've kind of shown and what he's kind of shown is everybody has to be the product of their own kicks. Wear what you want, cop what you want. I need to start wearing my LeBrons. I need to take my own advice. It's just it's hard out there. So I want to thank Carlos for coming on, even though he's not feeling well.
You got it, man. You know, it's like I said, anything for the channel. I don't necessarily care if anybody knows, but I got tested yesterday, or I got tested today for COVID, and we'll see what happens. Today, right now, I'm feeling better than I have all day. So I think that has everything to do with the conversation, with the shoes. Like, this just kind of makes me feel at home and feel better. So hopefully, maybe we should just never finish. Maybe we should just keep doing this for like another 3 days straight. That sound all right?
I mean, honestly, I could talk kicks. You know, I got plenty of shoes to show. But I mean, it really just goes to show that, you know, even though he's not feeling well and things like that, he came on the channel. You know, we had a conversation before and he was like, no, I really want to do it. And it shows how tight knit our sneaker community is. And that's why I wanted to do this. That's why Product of Kicks is a thing, because you are the product of your kicks, but you're also product of the community and people coming together and things like that.
I didn't get to show the sixes, but these are the United We Rise sixes. I got them used. I think they were $60. So I am not super picky about if they're worn or if they're not, but I just love LeBrons. I think they're great. So just kind of going back through some of the ones that I've shown. This will be a fun one. 2, 3s, and 4s. Can't be mad at the retros. These ones are, or sorry, can't be mad at the OGs. These are retros, but fun stuff, man. I could talk shoes all day, and I enjoy LeBron as a player. I think he's the GOAT. We can let people, you know, argue that out in the comment section below, but I think his shoes are superior. I think that they're fantastic sneakers. They're well thought out, well designed. And yeah, that's all I got to say about LeBrons. But Product of Kicks, I appreciate you having me on. Hopefully we can do this again sometime. And maybe it can be about another kind of shoe, maybe some SBs. I think that'd be fun.
All right, guys, huge shout out to Carlos Chandia for stopping by. He's a great member of Goody Two Shoes. Let me know in the comments what you think about what he brought, what LeBrons I brought. Also, follow his personal account at DarthVader12. You can also follow the group at Goody Two Shoes LV. As always, on Product of Kicks, be the product of your own kicks. Like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. And as always, I'll see you guys next week.